Alright, so I got this Co-op brand kerosene bullet heater here, and I asked my dad about this, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, and he said, oh, I took that to the dump. I didn't think that he did, so I checked up in the attic, and sure enough, it was there. He was just as surprised as I was, because he was pretty sure that he took it to the dump. The problem was it wasn't working anymore. I think you plugged it in and it would spray fuel, but it wouldn't ignite. So I'm going to see if I can hopefully diagnose what's wrong with this thing and go from there. So I know when he put it away it wasn't working. The reason he bought this, when he started delivering mail during the winter months, the car would get all full of snow, so he'd plug this in the garage to melt off the ice and snow on the car. So I want to say this is somewhere from like the mid-70s. So plan is to get the thing going. I don't really need it, but thought if I could get this thing going again, that'd be kind of cool. So I'll set up a camera and I'll show you what it does. Alright, so the way that this one works, and I just noticed here that the reset is popped way out, which it may not even start if that's popped out. I don't know what the story on that is. There's no switches. You plug it in and then immediately would fire. And like I said, this reset being popped out, it might not do anything. Let me try it here. Okay, so nothing. So I'm going to pop off. There's a back cover here. Let's take a look at that. Let's see what the deal is. I think that reset would pop out too if it ran out of fuel or something. It would just turn off. So I don't know what the deal is here. Boy, there's definitely been some wiring done on this thing the way it looks. But I don't know what he's all fixed. He may have switched out some parts on this thing if there was issues with it at some point. Yeah, there's all sorts of things in here. Looks like there was a screw here on this and it just popped off. Oh, this cracked off is the way it looks. There, it just clicked in. So yeah, this little plastic threaded part with the nut there that popped off, which holds that switch in. Now I'm sure if you plug it in, it'll go. So you can tell by the smoke, it's obviously putting out fuel. There is old fuel still in the tank, so let's get the top popped off and we'll go from here. So this is what I was talking about, is broke off this switch. So when you try to reset it, the whole switch goes in. I'll have to see if we can fix that or find maybe a cheap replacement on this thing. Like I said, it's pretty old, so I don't know what this piece here, what that does. But yeah, I know there's something with setting pump pressure. I don't know why there's goop all over this. I think this is probably the port you get the pressure from. That's probably the one that you adjust it. So I don't know. I guess these things are pretty simple to work on, but I don't know a whole heck of a lot about it. So top, well, the screws are all out, so we can just pull this top off and set that on the side. So you got your burner there, and then like this is your fuel nozzle, and I think the way it works is one of these is like an air line that must come off the back of this fan here, and I think by pulling air across this and blowing it past this nozzle, that must suck. This is your fuel line then, down on the bottom here. And then this little sensor here, that's going to be some sort of optical sensor, I believe, that senses the light. So if there's light, it'll run, and if there's not, it won't let it run, so it just doesn't fuel, I guess. This one uses a spark plug. So, and then like the fan is what blows the heat back down in there. That rusted piece there, that's going to be the coil, which provides the electricity there for the spark plug. So let's try this again. I'm going to plug it in and see if we get anything, or see at least if it's sparking. If it's sparking, we should be in pretty good shape, I would think. Alright, that's weird. how come it doesn't ignite then with the cover on? That is odd. I don't know. I wonder if there's like a fuel filter on the bottom of that line that goes in the tank, and if it's full of rust maybe. I don't know why it would, that to me, I don't know, unless, boy, I don't know. I have no idea with this why. Well, let's try it with the cover on again. Let's see what it does. Maybe it was just some sort of fluke thing here. Let's try it again, see if it ignites. It sounds like it's running. I don't know. Awful smoky though. And I know he's never used, you can put diesel fuel in these. He's only used kerosene or K1 or whatever it is. Number one, or was it K1 I think is what they consider the kerosene or whatever. So it's not like he's got a bunch of gunk in there. But I did look inside the tank here, and obviously there's some, I mean the tank is a little rusty on the bottom. You know, you probably can't see it. Maybe if I get way in there. Come on. There, you can kind of see. There's a little bit of rust on there. So I don't know. It seems like it's not getting air, which doesn't make sense when you put the cover on. Oh, the other thing I just thought of, maybe that sensor's not getting any light. With this cover off, it's getting light. And when you put that cover on, it's dark, so it's not seeing the spark from the spark plug, maybe. I don't know. I'll have to mess around with it here and see what I find. Alright, so I got the actual burner assembly pulled out here. This here is that nozzle or jet or whatever that's called that sprays the fuel in. This line here was the line that came off of the back of the electric motor, and then this line here I'm assuming goes right into the fuel tank. So I don't know, this is really warm right now, I can't really touch it. I did notice on the air pump line here it's a little cracked or dry rotted, so I might just replace the lines, but I don't think that is the issue. I don't know. And then also when I looked in this little sensor in here, you can kind of let's see if I can get a better shot of that. I'll zoom in a little bit. When I looked inside here too, like that's not flat in there, so maybe that has something to do with it, but it seemed like it was running fine. I did some tests where I put a piece of paper in front of it, and it still, I mean, it still ran. It didn't shut it off, so I'm not 100% sure on that. Once it cools down though, I'm going to try pulling out this jet just to see what that looks like. And then I think I'm going to try to get this whole bottom assembly off so I can see with that fuel line if there is a filter on the bottom. Okay, so that's that fuel nozzle. I just broke that loose. It looks like this unthreads, I hope. Hopefully I'm not breaking anything here. And like I said, I don't even know if this is really the issue, but I thought I'd take it apart and see. Oh, a little tiny O-ring in there. That looks, O-ring looks good. Yeah, this back part here just brings up the fuel. So the part there with the two nipples, this is plastic and this looks like it's brass. Although, like, it was spraying good and burning, so I'm not sure what else. So you can kind of see there's the O-ring. That would be the side the fuel comes in. This is the side that it sprays. So it's obviously kind of full of some carbon here. I don't know if I should try to blow some air through there. Maybe hit this with a little carb cleaner just to kind of clean this tip. I don't know, it kind of looks like there could be something in there, but then again I'm not real sure because I don't know what that's supposed to look like. The O-ring though looks good, so I would think if that was an issue or it was leaking fuel or whatever, we'd have a different issue too. So I think I'll try cleaning that up. This part here, I don't think there's anything we really need to do with it. Looks like that should be fine. So then I was going to check inside the burner tube too to make sure there isn't anything like stuck in there maybe, and that's why it doesn't run when you put the top on. Alright, so I pulled out, this was that fuel tube. So, and then inside this hard piece of old plastic here was this little tiny filter. And from what I can tell, it doesn't look that bad. There's obviously some rust. I did try blowing on the hose outward, and it seems to go pretty difficult. So I don't know if that's maybe why the Reset 2 was kicking out, that's a little too difficult. And if the fan motor is overtaxed, it kicks out the reset or whatever. So I'm going to clean it up. I guess I don't have carb cleaner. All I have is brake clean, so hopefully that's okay. And then I know the fuel in here is old, so I grabbed some diesel fuel conditioner and put it in here. That, like, what is it, Howes or whatever that is. Just because I had some. I figured that can't hurt. It's supposed to boost performance and anti-gelling, so maybe if there is any type of like water in this tank, that would help as well. I'm not 100% if this is the correct spark plug for this unit. It probably isn't. It obviously sparks. It doesn't look too terrible. I'm not sure on the gap either. I should check that. It says right on here what the gap is supposed to be. So yeah, I'll get these parts cleaned up and then maybe do some more inspecting here. I don't know, like I said, the hose is cracked, but it looks like it's only cracked on the outside, or weather checked I should say. So I don't think that's the issue, because it's obviously working, unless for some reason this hose, I don't know, there's still plenty of fuel coming out. That's not the issue why it doesn't seem like it's burning. So yeah, I'm not sure. I'll probably clean this stuff up and maybe we'll try it again here and see where we're at. Alright, so I got the jet put back in here, if that's what it's called. There is some writing there you can kind of see, and what does it say? I think it was like M30875 and then the letter C. So I'm not sure what that means. I cleaned it up with some brake clean. I ran some compressed air through it. Seems like it should be fine. I mean, it went easy enough. So like I said, I'll get the fuel filter assembly put back in the tank, which is over here, and then we'll see if we can get this thing to fire up and run again. Alright, so I just got the final screws just put back in. It just does not want to focus, too much stuff there. So like I said, I cleaned out the fuel nozzle here. I flip-flopped the fuel line. The top of it was all cracked, so I put the cracked side down. What I would have liked to do is either put in a new line or cut some of it off, but I didn't have any line that size. So on this other line, which is like your vacuum or your whatever, the line that actually creates the draw from the tank, that line looks good. I think we actually may have replaced that. So I did adjust this eye so it's a little bit closer to that hole too. We'll see if that makes a difference. Other than that, and I think that coil down there, that may have been replaced, because if you look on the back side here, there are a bunch of like wire nuts and stuff further back in here. So maybe at some point my dad replaced that. I'm not even 100% sure. So I'll set up the camera here and we'll start it up and we'll see how it runs, I guess. Or if it runs. Alright, so I'm going to plug it in here and let's see what happens. Okay, so I'm not real sure where the fuel pressure is supposed to be set. It says 3.6, but I don't have a gauge or anything like that. Pretty sure flames shouldn't be shooting out beyond that, like the bullet part there, the part that's like right here, that part. I don't think they're supposed to be. I remember though, like back in the day, that thing would get cherry red and you would sometimes see flame. I know since I poured that Howie stuff in, it smells way better, so maybe the fuel is just bad. Or maybe there's some water mixed in, that's why it didn't want to stay burning or whatever. Seems like it's running all right. I'm gonna plug it in again here now and try starting it with the cover on and see if it starts. All right, so let's try it again. So playing around with the screw for the fuel pressure, it seems like it burns better when it's turned in than out. Out it doesn't seem to, it just doesn't seem like it's burning as hard. So I don't know if the fuel pressure actually goes up when you turn it in. I don't know, I always think like a carburetor, usually when you turn the screw out, that's when you get more fuel. When you turn it in, you're kind of leaning it out. So I don't know, it's starting to get red. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. It seems like it's working now. Before, like you said, we plugged it in there and it didn't seem to, the flame wouldn't go when you put the cover on. So I don't know what the whole story on that was. It just needed a cleaning or what. All right, so I'm gonna call that a win. I initially thought like the coil or something was bad, but then once I saw we had spark, I'm like, well, either that eye isn't working or something with the fuel. And when I plugged it in, it lit up. So I don't know what the deal is. Maybe it was the nozzle was a little dirty. Like I said, maybe the fuel was bad. Let me grab that stuff. I'll show you what I dumped in the tank. So this is what I dumped in, some of this stuff. I don't know, it's for the tractors, what I've been running it in so that it doesn't gel up. And this whole container, I guess, treats 160 gallons of fuel. So obviously when you're putting it in a 60-gallon tractor tank, you don't need a whole heck of a lot. This is the second year on this stuff. I think I must have poured in a little more than what I needed, because I don't think I've gone through quite that much fuel. I know in here I dumped in, or in this I've dumped in, I don't know, probably about that much. So I don't see how it could hurt. It doesn't say that you can put too much of it in, and it says it boosts power and performance. So I figured if there is something in that kerosene like water, or if it was just old, that it should be all right. So I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. And like I said, this here is that screw for setting the fuel pressure, and it's 3.6, which is pretty specific. And you're supposed to tap a gauge in here to dial this in. But like I said, I turned this out to a point where the red part of the screw was flush with this outer here, and it just didn't seem like it was getting anything. So I turned it back in until it seemed like it was almost tight. So I don't know where the setting on that is. But like I said, now if we go and I plug this thing in, it seems to fire right up. And to me, it seems like it's running pretty strong. So yeah, I think that's gonna be it. I'm gonna call it a win on this. So there you go. This is your Co-op brand bullet heater, and this is I believe it's a 50,000. Yeah, 50,000 BTU.